Iain!
Jordan! Wait, hang on a sec.
Who thought it would be a fun idea to role reverse their segments for one day only as we lead into April Fools?
Alfred Hitchcock?
No. Two guys. What? That felt weird.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel when you normally do it?
I just feel great.
Okay, I've done it wrong then.
Try it with the thumb up your bum.
Okay, right, yeah. Oh, hello, and welcome to episode 169 of Two Guys What's Up, the weekly comedy podcast where today we've decided to switch things up to make us both look an April Fool. Mm-hmm. My name is Jordan, and opposite me is the beautiful bearded bastard who for one time only will be going second today.
Yeah.
It's Iain.
Woo! How's it going, bro?
Now, Iain, before we have a little catch-up, why don't you start by letting us all know what your segment is going to be today?
Well, Jordan, as you and I are swapping segments today,
Oh, yeah.
I thought I'd bring you something a little bit more risque.
Uh-oh.
What I have for you today is a segment that I like to call the internet's list of lengths that women have gone to get laid. Because that's never been done before, has it?
No, I don't think it has, Iain. I don't remember.
I am, of course, kidding, because that has been done twice now. So what I have for you today is a delightful list of some of the strangest things found in people's walls.
Oh, wow, okay. This is a good one. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, so during things like renovations, some people have come across some weird and creepy things, and I've gotten them written down here for you.
Oh, I love it. I'm super excited. And I'm really weirded out.
Yeah, you should be.
Okay, good.
But Jordan, since you were going first, why don't you tell us what you're going to be going into today?
Well, Iain, we both knew that this crossover segment was coming, and even this morning you texted me and you said something like, what if he's gone and done one of my upcoming segments?
Yeah, still a fear.
Which is true. That could have happened. And what I didn't want to happen was that very thing, to basically step on your toes and present something that you may have already planned for something upcoming very soon. So with that, today's story begins not with ghosts or even strange lights in the sky or even those grey little gits, but with something far more unsettling.
Uh-oh.
Something that really happened and has been proven to be 100% factual.
Oh, I'm liking where this is going.
Because sometimes, Iain, the most unbelievable and frightening tales aren't necessarily paranormal at all. They're historical.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. The story I'm about to explore today with you and our dear listeners sits right in that uncomfortable junction between science, war, secrecy and cruelty.
Oh.
We're talking the covert research program run by the Imperial Japanese Army during the Second World War.
Oh, God, I know where this is going.
Yep, Iain, today it is the story of Unit 731.
Oh, some dark stuff.
That is very dark, but you've not done it before.
I haven't. I mean, I was kind of hoping, you'd tell me about aliens or something, but this'll do.
I tried, all right? I tried. But first, Iain.
Yes.
If people like what they hear, where can they find more?
Well, Jordan, currently we have 33 bonus episodes sitting up on our Patreon, as well as some top-tier Two Guys merch, like t-shirts and mugs, all starting with those hilarious, spooky, and information-packed bonus episodes for just £3, or about $5, depending on your location.
Yeah.
All available with one click on our Patreon link, written down there in the description of this episode.
Very good, Iain.
Oh, yeah.
But before we jump into all that good stuff, Iain, how the heck are you?
You know what, Jordan? I am very good, because we have had our very first message on our Two Guys hotline.
You're joking. I even just asked you about this earlier today.
You did, and I decided to withhold the information so that I could give it to you firsthand right now on air.
Oh, you beautiful bearded bugger.
That's what they call me.
That's what I call you.
Yeah, no one else. So the message came from our good friend over on the Patreon called Jimble Belushi.
Oh, hello, Jimble.
And he sent us a picture of a banana.
Oh, God. Is this a euphemism?
It is not, no. It's a real banana. Okay. And he said, I think I may be the Guinness record holder for the owner of the straightest banana. And this banana is impeccably straight.
Oh, wow, okay. Could you use it as a straight edge?
You could probably use it for a lot of things.
Say no more.
Stick some numbers on there, you got yourself a ruler.
Great.
Lube it up and stick a condom on it, you got yourself a prophylactic.
Oh. The condoms are prophylactic.
That is true. Yeah, you got yourself a dildo. I was trying to be coy, all right? I was trying to be
fair
trying to be nice.
I assume are you going to stick this picture up on the Instagram?
Should I get his go-ahead, then I will absolutely stick this on the Instagram and in the YouTube video.
Okay.
But unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to take it to the Guinness World Record because his dog ate it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say he was really hungry.
No.
Could you imagine that? He was on his way to the Guinness World Record quarters, and it's like, my tummy's going.
I just need a snack before I get there.
Oh, God, that would be awful, wouldn't it?
And Jordan, for your viewing pleasure right now, I will send this banana to you.
Well, the picture, I assume.
No, he sent me the banana. It came through the mail.
It's now really bent, Ian. What's going on?
You know what I said earlier about the condom?
I'm sort of intrigued to see what this will be like.
Oh, mate, you get ready for the straightest banana in the world.
Okay. Oh, wow. That is indeed the world's straightest banana.
Isn't it?
Just could I say, however, it could be an optical illusion, couldn't it? Because it could be the world's most bent banana, but he's just taken it from the right angle.
Possibly. You know, if you turn that sideways.
I'm not trying to say, by the way, that Jimble is BSing us.
Hey, you ain't a liar, Jimbo.
No, exactly. I was just putting it out there.
Well, you know what? You're bad-mouthing our listeners here, Jordan, and I don't like it. I think Jimble's just unsubscribed to the Patreon as well. Thanks.
I'm sorry. Oh, and I've just seen the picture of your dog, who looks really cute, but has alas stopped you from getting said Guinness World Record.
He did say at the end, from Jimble, love you chaps, even though Ian is the best one. Jordan, maybe start talking about some paranormal stuff. That'd be nice. Even,
Right, yeah,
if you plan maybe a crossover episode in the future.
Of course, yeah.
You know, actually take note from Ian, do an actual paranormal segment.
Right,
So,
okay, yeah. Could you send me a
just deleted
screenshot?
that.
Oh, right, yeah.
Fuck.
What a shame.
Sorry.
Oh, that's...
Sorry,
At
man.
least, you know, you've got it on audio, haven't you, to listen back on?
Yeah, I've got it on here. I've lost his number, so I can't even
Right.
send it to him to ask.
Oh, what a
to,
shame.
to resend the message.
Right. It's really funny, that, isn't it? It happens sometimes.
Yeah, I'm a butterfingers when it comes to technology. You know, I meant to hit share, accidentally hit delete, meant to screenshot, drop my phone in a puddle. You know, happens to me all the time.
Okay. Well, we'll just brush over that, won't we?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to.
That will be absolutely fine.
You know, people ask me, hey, you got an iPhone 15? I say, no, I've got my 15th iPhone today because I've broken the rest, dropped them all in puddles.
Of course, yeah. You do need to invest in some rice.
Or some fingers. I'm all thumbs.
Or a sense of balance or coordination.
Oh, you know, just anything to help me grip.
It's all those prophylactics on top of your hands, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You know, you've always got to be prepared. Always got to be prepared for any event.
God.
You know, you're in the middle of Lidl one day.
Where is this going?
You know, you find a street banana. You know, you're just like, well, the mood's taking me. You can't just shove it up there raw. Oh, could drop my phone again.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine? You turn to this old dairy buy who's pushing a little trolley, and you're like, could you just give me a hand? Just give it a little shove.
Excuse me, love. I am complete dunce when it comes to dropping my phone. Can you hold this for me while I shove this banana up my ass?
Could you imagine you do that thing where you're like, could you record this TikTok for me?
Yeah. Take the phone from me because I will drop it in the process.
Oh, God.
Oh, fun times.
Oh, that's why all your pictures, Ian, have like this weird haze over them. It's just, you've got a condom wrapped over it.
Exactly, yeah, because, you know, got to protect your phone, don't you? So it's a
Of
makeshift phone case. Got to use what you got on hand.
Oh, that's horrible. Yeah.
But true.
I just imagine how slimy that is.
Oh, God, yeah.
And it would have a bit of a whiff for a while.
Yeah, you know, it's a nice smell.
Is it?
I've grown accustomed to it.
Well, I suppose you just come nose blind, haven't you?
Yeah, I need some Febreze. My hand just keeps slipping off the trigger whenever I try to spray it.
It doesn't go into the air because you've got prophylactics over it, haven't you?
Exactly, I do. I do.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Are you all right? Anyway, yeah, you good?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I'm just recovering from a bit of a cold. So I'm a little bit sinusy still, but I'm all right. It was weird, actually. You know how normally you can sort of feel you've got an illness coming on, like a cold. You know, you get that tickle in the back of your throat, or you can just tell.
Indeed.
I got none of that. You know, a couple of weeks ago, I ended up having a really bad stomach bug.
Yes.
Got over that. And then I woke up and I felt absolutely fine. Kind of swung my legs over the bed to get up and get dressed. And then I could feel my nose just running.
Ooh.
And literally, I thought I had a nosebleed. Definitely wasn't that. And no, I just started a cold. It was really weird. I don't think I've ever experienced that before.
You know, I've often wondered, right, how interesting, I mean, this would mean nothing, but just how interesting it would be to be able to pinpoint the exact moment that you become infected with a cold.
Yeah.
Because there has to be like a second when you're not, and then the next second you are, like something's breeding inside you and becoming this cold.
Yes.
And I've always wondered, like, it'd be interesting to know exactly when and how that point happened.
I do that kind of thing in my head. I kind of replay back where I went, where I've been, and did I put my fingers near my mouth? You know, like I literally do all of that.
It was probably that time you were in Lidl. And
This fucking idiot asked me to record his TikTok.
I touched his phone, then I didn't wash my hands before I had a sandwich. Oh. That was it.
Oh, God, that's probably where I got the stomach bug.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Jesus, that's really bad.
It was a really good time. I had a good time.
So with that, Ian, shall we get into the good stuff?
Let's fucking do it, pal. I'm excited.
I'm going to swoosh it today.
Swoosh it, bro. Oh, that sounds weird coming from this end. I don't like that.
So, Ian, I know that you're familiar with the story, but for the listeners out there who have never heard of it before, that isn't unusual. For decades after the war, very little about Unit 731 was openly discussed. Records were destroyed, witnesses stayed silent, and governments quietly made deals that kept much of the truth buried. But what we do know, through testimonies, surviving documents, and later investigations, is that it paints a picture of one of the most disturbing wartime programs ever conducted.
Yeah.
I know. And Ian, what makes this story especially chilling is that the people involved weren't fringe figures or rogue soldiers. They were doctors, scientists, professors.
Ugh.
See, I'm getting into that thing that you do.
I love it.
That's right, Ian. It was people who were supposed to heal the sick and advance knowledge, but instead they used science as a weapon.
And done to regular people.
Absolutely.
Not like, I mean, not that this would really make the sort of shit that they did any better. Don't laugh.
No.
But, you know, it wasn't done to people that were seen as horrible. It was just fucking people.
Which we will soon find out. So today we're going to walk through what Unit 731 actually was, how it operated, and why its legacy still casts a long shadow today. To understand what Unit 731 is, we have to start with one man, Shiro Ishii. Ishii was a medical doctor and microbiologist in the Imperial Japanese Army. By the 1930s, he had become deeply interested in biological warfare, which is, I guess, first big red flag.
Oh, yes.
This is the idea that diseases themselves could be weaponized.
Bad idea.
Oh, yeah.
Who thought that'd be a good fucking idea?
Ishii.
Like, oh, well, let's make one of the most spreadable things on the world a weapon, you know, so if we give it to a certain people, then there's no risk of that getting back to us, is there?
Not at all, no. Actually, maybe there is, Ian.
Oh, maybe, possibly, yeah.
I suppose we'll find out, maybe, shall we?
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't do this whole biological warfare shit. Or
I don't think
war
we
in
should.
general. War in general, you know, let's get rid of our generals.
I think that was absolutely required in this instance.
Okay, yeah.
Now, the concept wasn't entirely new. Several countries had explored biological weapons in some form, but Ishii was convinced that Japan could gain a military advantage by developing them aggressively.
Ooh.
But Ian, here's the thing. Studying biological warfare in a lab is one thing. Studying it, as you said, on living human beings is something else entirely.
Yeah, that's called tyrannical horrors.
Oh yeah, that's to put it lightly. And Ishii believed that to truly understand how diseases affected the human body, experiments had to be conducted on people.
God.
Those people, not volunteers, but prisoners. By the mid-1930s, Japan had occupied large areas of northeastern China, including the region of Manchuria, and it was there that the Japanese army built a large, secret research facility in a place called Pingfang. This installation eventually became known as Unit 731. On the surface, it was described as a water purification and epidemic prevention department of the army, ironically. But behind the walls of the compound, a very different operation was taking place. The complex was enormous, covering several square kilometres and including labs, prison cells, crematoriums, animal facilities and testing grounds.
Good Lord.
Thousands of personnel worked there, including scientists, doctors, technicians and guards. And Iain, the prisoners held inside the facility, had a grim nickname used by the staff. They called them Maruta, and that word roughly translates to logs. The idea of logs is that the prisoners were treated not as human beings, but simply as experimental material.
Right.
Not great.
No.
So Iain, what exactly happened to these prisoners? Well, it was documented through later testimonies and research that the findings are extremely disturbing. Many of the prisoners were Chinese civilians, but they were also Korean prisoners, Mongolians, and a small number of Soviet prisoners of war. They were used in a wide range of experiments designed to study disease, injury, and the limits of human survival. One major focus, as we alluded to at the start, was infectious disease research. Now, I know that you, Iain, you've heard of this story before.
Yep.
Can you remember off the top of your head of any sort of pathogens or things that prisoners were directly infected with?
Do you know what? It's funny that you asked that, because I was going to say at the beginning that usually whenever I bring this up to people...
Over a coffee.
Yeah, over some light chat. Like my wife recently went to visit Auschwitz.
Of course, yeah.
And through that came the discussion of, you know, how horrible Nazis were and the things they did.
Yeah.
Like human experiments and stuff like that. And from that, we evolved into, I asked my wife if she'd ever heard of this particular Japanese unit. And she said she hadn't. But in this instance, as well as whenever else it comes up, I'm always like, oh, they did some horrible stuff. They did like...
something and other things and more somethings.
Yeah, and I can never remember exactly. I remember something about...
Something.
no, that like freezing limbs.
Yeah, that is a thing.
That's like the one thing that I remember.
But that's not strictly a pathogen, though.
It's not, no, but that, you know, that's like one of the experiments that I remember coming out of it. But like I say, I'm always just like, oh, they did some horrible shit, and they're like, oh, like what? And I'm like, oh, well, they did stuff like with freezing people, and I don't think people quite get the full image of exactly how awful it was. So you telling me now will probably cement it in my brain. So next time it comes up, you know, over coffee, on the Christmas table, something like that, I'll be able to fill people in with all the information.
Yeah. Just before the Christmas family photo.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, just before say cheese, you're like, remember, guys.
Judy, can you just take this photo, please? Right. All right, everybody, look at the camera. Has anyone ever heard of Unit 7? Everyone's like, what?
God. Okay, well, the pathogens were things such as the plague,
right,
cholera, typhoid, and anthrax. All pretty horrible things.
If I got any of these pathogens, illnesses, diseases, you know, I'd be pretty pissed off.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be happy.
I wonder how many people would actually know until it was sort of too late.
I mean, back then, a lot of people would have probably just brushed it off and gone, oh, I'm a bit sick, give it a few weeks. But to have these things thrust on me by someone else would be so...
Yeah.
Like, demoralising. It'd be horrible.
I mean, it's the violation of the highest form, isn't it?
Absolutely. One of.
I mean, yeah, thinking about it, it's the perfect topic for a comedy podcast.
James did put you down.
You did.
For episode 166, I think it was released. It's like, yeah, welcome to the comedy podcast.
Yeah, that was about the benefits.
Yeah.
And I did say to him, just wait until you see something in a couple of weeks. And here we are.
And here we are right now. Here you are, Jimmy.
Moving on. So they gave them these pathogens just so scientists could observe how the diseases progressed. And these experiments often involve procedures without anesthesia.
Oh, man.
I know. Because researchers wanted to observe the natural progression of infection and organ damage. In some cases, prisoners underwent vivisection, which is surgery conducted while the subject is still conscious.
Yeah.
The reasoning given by some of these former staff later was that anesthesia might have altered the body's response to the disease, or some bollocks like that.
Yeah.
Other experiments tested extreme environmental conditions, which you alluded to, Iain.
Mm-hmm.
Prisoners were exposed to severe cold to study the effects of frostbite. Limbs would be literally frozen, and then various thawing methods tested to see how the tissue reacted. Sorry, go on.
No, go on. I'm just scoffing in disgust.
There were also experiments involving dehydration, starvation, blood loss, and high pressurized environments. And the goal, at least from the perspective of the researchers, as they say, was to gather data that could be used for the Japanese military.
Of course.
But Iain, the human cost of all of this was enormous. Historians estimate that thousands of prisoners died within the Unit 731 facility itself.
And how long was it open for? How long did they operate?
I want to say that this was, I believe, this a span of about 10 years, maybe not quite that.
So thousands of prisoners within a 10-year gap.
Yeah, it might have even been a little bit less than that, to be truthful.
Do you know what I want to know?
Why someone would do it?
Well, essentially, yes, right? My point is, I think it's generally cited that about 1% of population are psychopaths, right?
Right, okay. They're all in the Japanese army at that point.
At that point, yeah, how the fuck could you get a group of people willing to put humans through this suffering?
Yeah.
I mean, like, the prospects of scientific advancement surely can't override your I can't sleep tonight if I do this to someone.
That's true. Yeah.
Like, how the hell did they go home and think, can't wait to get up at 8 a.m. to come into work tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. No one in their right mind could have that on the conscience and be okay with it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I understand there's like that diffusal of guilt where they say, I'm just doing my job.
Oh, a little bit like Milgram experiment.
Yeah. Like, you know, I'm just doing as I'm told. You know, I'm just a puppet. The bosses are telling me what to do. It's not my choice.
Yeah. I don't want to do it, but they're making me. I'm getting paid for this.
Yeah, but still, having a person in front of you, like dissecting them while they're alive with no anesthetic.
Yep.
How can you not just be like, I don't give a fuck about my job. I don't want to do this.
I guess, do you think there could be maybe a tipping point in that scale where they think, oh, crikey, if I say against this, they're going to do it on me?
Possibly.
It could be a fear thing.
Yeah, I'm sure there's an aspect of threat in there.
Yeah.
But there are things that could be done, like anonymously tipping off authorities, you know, people outside who don't know what's going on, bring it to the light, the media, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at least that's trying to make a change or a stand against it, and not just being like, oh, well, I may as well just crack on.
True. Yeah. You would have thought there'd been, I mean, maybe there was, but not that I'm aware of, some sort of whistleblowers out there.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there wasn't because this continued for a long time.
Mental.
Yeah, absolutely. So continuing on. The research at Unit 731 wasn't limited to laboratory experiments. Another major objective was developing biological weapons that could be deployed in war. One method involved breeding large numbers of plague-infected fleas. Nice.
Don't do that.
Yeah, not recommended. These fleas could be placed inside ceramic bombs that were then dropped over populated areas. When the bombs broke open, the fleas would spread and potentially infect humans with plague. Historical investigations have found evidence that Japanese forces conducted biological attacks in part of China during the war, releasing infected insects or contaminating the water supplies. These operations, of course, caused outbreaks of disease among the civilian populations. But Iain, I suppose if my love of zombies and Resident Evil has taught me anything, biological weapons are unpredictable.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, disease does not respect battle lines.
No, yeah, there's definitely a potential of that coming back on you.
Exactly. And in some cases, these outbreaks caused by these weapons also spread to Japanese troops and nearby areas. Yeah.
Who would have thunk that could have fucking happened?
Yeah, exactly. Really doesn't take a genius, does it, to even think slightly far ahead?
No.
But don't you think that, I mean, first of all, it's truly horrible, we've said that, but that the Japanese military thought this would be acceptable, and this was like 100 years ago. You know, it's not way in the past.
Yeah.
You know, this is relatively recent. Absolutely baffles me. And by 1945, the Second World War was coming to an end. As the Soviet forces advanced into Manchuria in August of that year, the Japanese military ordered the destruction of Unit 731's facilities.
But carefully, because you don't want any of those pathogens getting out.
That's very true. Yeah, that's such a good point. Maybe at that point they'd used them all.
Yeah, we're out anyway. We're shutting up shop.
God. Buildings were demolished, records were burned, and the remaining prisoners were killed to eliminate witnesses.
Fucking hell.
Shiro Ishii and many other personnel fled, and years afterwards, much of the programme remained hidden from the public. But here, Iain, lies one of the most controversial parts of the story. After the war, the United States granted immunity to several Unit 731 researchers who were captured, including Ishii.
Let me guess.
Go on.
In exchange for the documentation and the research notes that they collected.
Exactly that.
Fucking
For the data gathered during the experiments.
diabolical.
Absolutely. American officials believed the information might be useful for their own biological warfare research, as if we've not already just gone through something horrible and thought, you know what, that's probably not great. We'll put a lid on that.
Bury it deep.
Yeah, exactly.
Get in prison, you biological testing bastards.
It's true. And because of that decision, many of the scientists involved were never prosecuted in war crimes trials. Some went on to have careers in medicine, academia, or even an industry in post-war Japan. However, the Soviet Union did prosecute several captured members of the program during the Khabarovsk war crimes trials in 1949, which at the time revealed additional details about the unit's activities.
Not good enough. Get them all.
I know. In the decades since the war, historians, journalists and researchers have continued investigating Unit 731. Surviving documents, testimony from former staff and archaeological evidence from the Pingfang site have helped reconstruct what actually happened there. Today, a museum stands in the area where the facility once operated, serving as both a memorial and an educational centre about the events. And Iain, one of the most difficult aspects of studying Unit 731 is that the full scale of its activities may never truly be known. Obviously, records were destroyed, witnesses have since passed away, and so many of the details remain uncertain. But here's what historians broadly agree on.
They were all a bunch of fuckers. The baddies, that is.
Yeah, I think we can all agree on that. But more specifically, that Unit 731 represents one of the most extreme examples of scientific research conducted without ethical limits.
Yeah.
And it shows what can happen when scientific ambition, military pressure, and dehumanization combine. And when we talk about dark chapters of history on our show, we do often focus on mysteries, strange sightings, unexplained phenomena, haunted places, etc. But sometimes the most haunting stories are the ones where the horror is entirely human. And Unit 731 wasn't the result of superstition or a myth. It was built by educated people, funded by a government, and carried out in the name of progress and victory in war. And that's the part that tends to leave the most bitter taste. Because Iain, if history teaches us anything, it's that understanding these events matters, not just as a record of the past, but as a reminder of where boundaries of science and humanity should always remain. And with that, Iain, my little labradoodle, I just want to know, what do you think?
Well, Jordan, I think that specifically for those reasons you just mentioned is why I like to stick to haunted houses and aliens and ghosts. And, I'll leave the big boy stuff to the people who can deal with it because, it's too real for me. And I'm probably never, I am never going to open my own unit and do this sort of shit. So
probably never. Like there's some sort of percentage in there.
I might have some psychotic break one day, we never know. But on the cards, as it stands right now, I'm never going to be involved in this stuff.
Yeah.
So I like to live in my own little bubble.
Makes sense. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the worst things that could happen in history, I think, this whole sort of biological warfare, just destructive in all senses.
Yeah.
And I don't even know what benefit they got from any sort of research from that.
Americans got tons, didn't they? They were like, oh yeah, we'll let you go.
But I wonder if it actually benefited them. They probably just looked at it and scoffed and thought,
yeah.
Okay. And it got filed away.
Yeah, they probably thought, right, going into this, I'm going to read the files. What do we think? The people died. People died. Oh, shit, well, yeah, who could have predicted that?
Yeah.
They gave someone the plague and they died.
Exactly. It's not like, not cured cancer out of it as far as we know and all that kind of potential, any kind of light at the end of the tunnel, but literally just, that's it.
You know what? It would be interesting to do a little bit of after research into whether any scientific advances did come from the files obtained from this unit.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, nothing came up, but you would think there should be.
I mean, I don't want to say that, oh, well, at least some good came of it because that's, that's letting
it's
people
a horrible
off.
thing.
Yeah.
It should never have happened.
Absolutely not. It should not have happened. It's not okay. And it was a very fucked up time.
You sort of say that as if you're telling yourself, it's not okay.
Yeah, Iain. Subdue that percentage.
You're just telling that 2% for yourself, aren't you?
God. Absolutely not. No, they should.
Yeah, absolutely crazy.
Yeah, no matter if any good did come of it, they shouldn't be let off with what they did.
Oh, yeah. There are no words.
There are no words. So thank you for bringing us such horrors, Jordan.
You're welcome. Just what I thought people might want for a Monday morning.
Shall we never swap segments again?
Maybe. I mean, you don't know. You might have the best thing coming up now. We might want to do it more often.
I always have the best thing coming up. What are you talking about?
True.
This is the weirdest things that have been found in walls.
I'm excited. It feels weird being on this side of the table, but bring it.
Let's fucking do it, pal. So, in April of 2016, a contractor named Peter Ray was renovating an old farmhouse in Ashburnham in Massachusetts when he noticed something strange while removing insulation from an interior wall. Behind the insulation was a small gap between a couple of studs, probably named Jordan and Iain.
Of course, yeah.
And tucked inside this gap were tightly wrapped bundles of old newspapers and cash.
Oh. Okay, that would be a good thing to find.
That would be a good thing to find, but you'll find out why, for him, it's probably a shit thing.
Oh no, it was cursed.
No, we're all good. So Roy carefully pulled them out and discovered that the newspapers were dated from 1951 and were wrapped around stacks of cash totaling around $23,000, in which today's money values at around $300,000.
Wow, okay, that's significant.
Ah, yeah.
Just finding that in your wall.
That would be good, wouldn't it? But like I said, this isn't going to go well for him.
Uh-oh.
So the house had belonged to a family who had lived there for generations, and the money was believed to have been hidden during the Great Depression, when many Americans lost their savings. So the family, like many others, figured that hiding it inside the walls was safer than sticking it in the bank. Which makes sense.
I mean, it obviously didn't help them, did it? It's still there.
Yeah, can you imagine, like, I just need to go get some milk. So, I've got to take the whole wall down.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake.
Yeah. You just invest in a safe, wouldn't you?
You would, absolutely. But John, the story does have a happy ending. Not for the guy. You'll see why. The contractor reported the find, and the money was eventually returned to the family who was connected to the property. So for the guy that found it, he wasn't like, I'm rich. He was like, oh, I've got to give all this money away. But, you know, he sounds like a good guy.
Ah.
So
okay.
bad for him.
So he couldn't keep it?
Couldn't keep it, no. But he did a good thing. And for the family who just received 300 grand, they're like, whoop, payday.
Oh, wow. So are you saying that the people that used to own the house got that money back?
I think it was the family who was in the lineage of the people who owned it.
Oh, wow.
So maybe like the great-great-granddaughter or something like that just got a knock at the door. They were like, no, go away. We don't want to buy your conservatory windows. They were like, no, I've got 300 grand for you. Come on in.
Wow.
Do you want a cup of tea?
That's so weird. You know what I was wondering, though? I wondered if it would have been $300,000, but old-style money.
Well, I guess it was 23 grand, but back then...
Yeah, the equivalent of it.
Yeah, it would have been, if you went to buy, I don't know, a pair of shoes, rather than costing $20, it'd have been $3, something like that.
Of course, yeah.
So it would still be 23 grand.
No, I guess what I was saying is, say they found 23 grand in the wall.
Yep.
I wondered if maybe at that point in time, some of the money had changed, it was reprinted, and so it was then kind of worthless.
Oh, possibly, but I mean, I think banks still have to take them. I don't know if there's like a grace period when new money's introduced. So long as it's legal tender, I think banks still have to take and exchange it for you.
Yeah. That would be weird though, wouldn't it? Because I guess they have to then do the calculation.
Yeah, figure out what it's worth.
I mean, would they just give you $23,000?
Oh yeah, like for like.
I guess they would.
Couldn't tell you. Questions. Anyway. Next! One of the strangest recurring discoveries during house renovations across Britain is the finding of single or pairs of shoes hidden inside walls, chimneys, and roof spaces.
Okay. Right. Okay.
The phenomenon is so common that museums now even keep archives of them. Archaeologists have catalogued thousands of concealed shoes discovered in buildings dating from around the 1600s to the late 1800s.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so typically builders find them, and historians believe that they were placed as a protective charm, because in folklore, a worn shoe carried the scent and the shape of its owner, which supposedly made it an attractive trap for malevolent spirits.
Oh, a trap.
A trap, yeah. So the idea was that a witch or a spirit who entered the house would be lured into the shoe and become trapped there.
Okay, so it's like a mouse trap, but a ghost trap.
Mouse trap, witch trap,
A shoe trap.
shoe trap. I guess the one and the same. You put cheese in a mouse trap, and shoes can get quite cheesy. So
Oh, God. Imagine, though, if it was really bad and you could still smell it through the wall.
stick up some more wallpaper, please. The cheese is killing me. I can't sleep for the cheese.
Could you imagine, though, if that actually worked and, you know, you had this malevolent spirit in the wall, how frustrated it would be. It would be constantly tapping at the wall to get let out.
You're renovating this house and a fucking shoe falls out and a ghost tips out. It's like, I've been holding my breath for fucking 400 years.
Got claustrophobia.
God, I'm never going to anyone's house again. That was horrible.
Oh, yeah. Kind of sad, actually.
But Jordan, if one shoe sounds weird, then wait until you hear this. In 2009, a homeowner named Chris Utley began renovating a 100-year-old house in Wellington, in New Zealand. While removing weatherboards from the exterior wall, he discovered something unexpected. An old shoe wedged inside the wall cavity. And then another. And then another. And as the renovation continued, the family eventually uncovered more than 250 individual shoes hidden in the walls of the house.
What? 250?
250.
Wow, okay.
Yep. The shoes were from different decades, ranging from Victorian children's boots to early 20th century footwear, and experts believe the house may have been built by someone familiar with the old superstition about the concealed shoes, and over time, successive residents may have just continued the tradition, quietly adding more and more footwear to the walls.
Wow, okay. I mean, my wife's got a heck of a lot of shoes. Do you reckon I could sort of secretly do that with ours?
Mate, get rid of some shoes and protect your domicile.
Yeah, this is so weird. I've never even heard of this being a thing.
Yeah, this is an old ritual, but it gets worse. Another strange discovery that turns up during a lot of renovations in the UK is mummified cats being found hidden in walls, roofs, or beneath floorboards.
Wow.
Yes.
As in self-taxidermied cats?
I'll explain.
Okay.
And I'll let you decide yourself. So these cats were not accidental deaths. They were intentionally placed there during construction, often in cottages between the 16th and 19th centuries. The belief was that the cat would serve as a protective spirit, scaring away witches, evil spirits, or supernatural pests. And some historians even think the idea also symbolically protected the home from vermin.
Okay. I wonder how they thought that would work.
F*** knows. Can you imagine, like, the wife comes home. It's like, where's Mittens? It's like, oh, I killed Mittens, put him in the floorboard. It's like, why didn't you just put an old shoe in there? God, I just got that cat.
And I've just called pest control, you bastard.
Yeah, all the rats were taken care of.
Oh.
Poor Mittens.
Yeah.
You know. So many have been discovered by builders while replacing roof timbers or removing wall plaster, like this one in 2003 in Lancashire, where builders restoring a 400-year-old farmhouse discovered a dried cat sealed inside the wall cavity above a fireplace.
Above a fireplace seems like the worst place.
Easiest way to dry it out.
True, but I mean, there's the potential for it to smell, surely.
Back in them days, I guess you just put up with it, you know, everything's going to stink in it. No showers, no running water.
Yeah. There's probably worse smells, isn't there, to mask that?
Yeah, everyone's got diarrhea.
Oh! It's like me a couple of weeks ago.
Exactly, yeah. You were the living embodiment of the 1600s.
I did feel like I had the plague.
But Jordan, let me tell you, this practice ties into an even older tradition, sometimes called foundation sacrifices. In parts of medieval Europe, it apparently wasn't animals. According to some legends, even human limbs were believed to have been placed in foundations of buildings as offerings for protection or good luck.
Not good luck for the person whose fucking limb it was.
No.
Was that to do with Unit 731?
Couldn't tell you.
It wouldn't surprise me at this point.
But yeah, pretty grim.
I wonder if they ever found these limbs and were like, right, I better get the police involved.
Yeah, there's some stuff coming up.
Okay.
But next up, Jordan, during renovations in England and the United States and part of Europe, people occasionally find strange glass bottles hidden inside walls or beneath fireplaces, and these are known as witch bottles.
Okay. As in, like, a wicked witch.
As in...
Yeah, right, okay.
So these were protective charms apparently used from the 1600s through to the early 1800s. When opened, many contained unsettling contents such as rusty nails or pins, hair or nail clippings, and sometimes even human p***s.
Oh, God. Okay. Is this like a sort of voodoo-esque thing then?
Similar. So the idea was that if someone cast a curse on the household, the witch bottle would magically trap it or reverse the spell back on the casting witch.
Right, okay. So they had to get all of these things of the supposed victim.
I couldn't tell. I think it's just like a potion, so I don't think it matters whose they are.
Oh, okay.
Just that they are in a concoction.
Right, because that would have been really difficult to ask for your victim's piss.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I know we're on bad terms, but I'm really thirsty. Can I have some piss?
So, in 2004, a sealed witch bottle dating back to the 17th century was discovered during renovations of a house in Greenwich in London. Archaeologists examined it and confirmed the typical contents, like the pins, the organic material, and also the aforementioned piss.
Nice.
But next, Jordan, we jump to 1987, where construction workers were renovating a building in Chicago, and while removing the plaster from an interior wall, they discovered that inside the cavity were human skeletal remains.
Oh, Wow, okay, yeah, but it happened.
It did. It's here.
Limbs weren't enough.
Police were called to investigate, forensic examination was conducted, and investigators believe the remains belonged to a man who may have been murdered and concealed before the wall was sealed up decades ago.
Ah.
Yeah, bad times. So unfortunately, because of the time that had passed and the lack of identifying information, the case remained unsolved, but this discovery became one of several examples that occasionally appear in crime history where a body is hidden inside a structure and remains undiscovered for decades until somebody decides they want a bigger bedroom.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a shock that would have been.
Yeah, can you imagine?
And it was just around Halloween.
Gives a hand, mate. Ah!
Yeah, weird.
Yeah. So up next, Jordan, in 2014, a contractor named Amanda Reese was renovating a house in Cleveland, Ohio, when she noticed something unusual behind the insulation of a wall cavity, just sitting there in a metal box. So she pulled it out, and when she opened it, she discovered stacks of old saving bonds and cash totaling nearly $1 million.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yep. These bonds dated back to the 1930s and 40s, which investigators later traced to the former homeowner, which had hidden the money. Ownership rules meant the money eventually was returned to the family connected to the property. Delightful ending again.
Okay, fair enough.
Penultimate one.
I wouldn't say that.
That's not a Jordanism at all, is it? In 2012, builders renovating a house in Rosendale in Lancashire discovered a human skull hidden inside the chimney breast. Police were called, and the house was briefly treated as a potential crime scene.
Potential.
What did I say?
No, I'm just laughing. Potential crime scene. As if, like, yeah, that's fairly normal. It's potentially a problem.
Yeah, it is, apparently. Bones and fucking dead cats everywhere. But after forensic examination, the skull was determined to be centuries old, likely dating back to the 1700s.
Right, okay.
Historians suggested that it may have been placed there deliberately as part of that old superstition to protecting the home, and the skull was eventually handed over to archaeologists for further study.
Okay, I wonder what they found out about it.
It was a skull.
Okay, good. Glad we cleared that up.
Yeah, we got there in the end.
I'm assuming a human skull.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, not of a mummified cat.
If somebody found like a hamster skull, there would be a potentially forensic scene going on.
That is very true. Good point.
Cordon the place off. So, Jordan, last one for you. In 2003, contractors renovating an apartment building in Chicago's Rogers Park neighborhood made a grim discovery whilst knocking through a wall during refurbishment work. You can probably tell where this is going. Inside the cavity, they found an old suitcase wedged between the studs. When the suitcase was opened, it contained not just a skull, but a full human skeleton.
Oh, right, okay. It's happened.
Yeah, another one. Police investigation determined that the remains belonged to a man named Paul Mack, who disappeared in 1987. Mack had been reported missing after a dispute with a neighbour in the building, and investigators eventually determined that Mack had been murdered and his body hidden inside the wall before the space was sealed during renovations.
Oh, right, okay. And how long ago was this, would you say?
87 it was. But this time they got the killer. So the case was eventually linked to Walter Zaintara, I believe that is pronounced, a neighbour who had lived in the building at the time of Mack's disappearance. But since he too had died, the case was never formally prosecuted. But for 16 years, the victim had been hidden inside the building structure, undiscovered, until workers were called in to install an ensuite.
Okay, right. So it was renovation time, and then that's when this fucking full-on skeleton popped up.
Exactly, yeah. Can you imagine, like, you find a suitcase, you're like, come on, millions, please. Oh, it's a skeleton.
Yeah, yeah, God. That's so weird. I don't know what I'd think if I found something like that in my home.
Probably call the police.
Probably.
That's what I'd think. Or, free meal.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, grind it down.
Maybe there's a bit of meat on there. Make a broth.
Oh, God. I'll let you try it first.
So, Jordan, after hearing all that, if you were renovating your house tomorrow and knocked through a wall, you'd be pretty safe, as you live in a new build. But for the rest of us, after hearing about witch bottles, skeletons, hidden cash and dead cats, looking around your house might suddenly make every wall start to feel like a mystery box. And I, for one, am ready to start unboxing.
Nice. Very good.
So, Jordan, of all those things, right, obviously, take the cash out, if you could break through your wall, right, you're like, oh, God, right, I need to make my living room bigger. What would you hope to find? That's what I want to know.
What would I hope to find?
Yeah.
I would hope to find heaps of current day cash that has a little letter attached to it saying, whoever finds this is your property. And I will be able to cash it in, basically do what I want for the rest of my life.
Okay, I did say ignore the cash. But,
that would be the thing I would hope for.
Okay, fair enough.
Because then that would allow me to do whatever I want.
I would hope to find all of the aliens that hide themselves around my house, because I know they're here watching me.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah, because I'll just be like, right, got you. Now get out.
Yeah, true. Yeah, fair enough.
You bloody shits.
Imagine, though, what would be the worst thing you'd find? Let's say you were doing a bit of DIY. You opened up your wall. You're about ready to do a bit of demolishing.
Yep.
Open up that spare room. You find a little box or something with holes in it. And then you see a little letter attached that reads, "Don't breathe it in."
God.
Could you imagine?
You know, the thing that I first thought of when you said, what's the worst thing you could find, is, I imagine knocking through my wall and all of a sudden I find my parents, just stood there.
I mean, that could be helpful if it's pizza night.
No, because what are you doing in my wall? You could just knocked. How long have you been here for? What have you been watching me do?
Oh, God. I mean, maybe not watching, but certainly hearing. I don't know what would be worse.
Oh, any of it, really.
What if you opened the wall up and you found a life-size cutout of yourself?
Well, like 3D, like made out of like some kind of...
I don't mean 3D printed. I just mean a lovely little cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that's me.
That'd be fine. I could use it to trick my wife into thinking I'm doing chores.
It would actually trick her because she'd still be like, Iain, you're not moving.
I'd know, because I'd, rig it up to some kind of elaborate pulley system
Right, okay.
and film it, like doing hoovering or something around the house and like send it to my wife.
Yeah.
And be like, yeah, I'm doing loads of work. Look at me go.
Iain, why have you got the Scalextrics in the kitchen?
I just watched Home Alone. Thought it'd be a good way to get around. But, it's one of those things. It's like mentally primed in her mind to walk in and find a clean place that she'll just ignore the mess because she'll be like, I watched you hoover. I know it's clean.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, very fascinating, though. I like that. I've never heard of any of those, and that weirds me out. I'm kind of grateful that I live in a new build.
I have had to have every room in this house peeled back to the brick and replastered.
Right.
When we moved into this house, it's been a money pit, so please sign up to the Patreon. But we are safe to say no dead cats, no skeletons, no money, no parents.
Just had a thought. All that renovation, Iain, it's released whatever was in the wall. That's why you hear all these creepy sounds.
Possibly, yeah. The guy who was taking all the plaster off was like, what's this fucking bottle filled with piss? Lobbed it out the window. Left us completely open to all sorts.
Yeah, it all makes sense.
Oh, God. I'm going to have to piss in a bottle now, aren't I?
Yeah. Just do your normal thing.
Yeah. What's new, Iain?
Just don't forget which one you picked in.
Oh, fantastic.
Fascinating. Thank you very much for that. I enjoyed it.
You're very welcome. Thanks for listening.
Weird, though.
Same again next week?
No, let's go back to our usual.
Okie dokie. I have got a very good, interesting segment based on last month's bonus episode coming up for you.
Oh, very good. Very nice.
Those who subscribe to the Patreon will know exactly what I'm talking about.
Excellent.
Get in my wall. So, Jordan, does that about bring us around to the end of today's episode?
I think it bloody hell better do.
Fantastic news! Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Two Guys What's Up. Don't forget to follow the show wherever you listen to us so you don't miss another episode, and maybe even tell a friend. Take your friend, put them in a suitcase, stick them in your wall. Have a Bluetooth radio set up so you can just play through every episode of Two Guys What's Up, keep them company.
Yeah, beautiful. And if you'd like to get in touch with us, our Linktree link is in the bio of this episode, which you can obviously click on and find all the information you need, along with our Two Guys What's Up hotline number.
Oh, yeah.
That's 07395 840 199.
And don't forget to check out the Patreon if you want to help support the show and get some fucking awesome, cool stuff while you do so.
Oh, yeah. But if you can't do that, yet you'd still like to help us out, a 5-star rating and review in your podcast app of choice would be the best and the freest way to do that for us, and we would be amazingly grateful.
Oh, yes, we would.
But on that note, thank you for listening. Have an amazing rest of your week, and we will, of course, as always, see you next Monday for a bit more of a normal episode. See you later, guys.
Oh, there's a cat in my wall.
All pretty horrible things.
Yeah, not really what you want.
No, I wouldn't personally sign up for that.
I mean, if I got any of those things.
Is it the baddie note?
Oh, apparently I've got a package.
The baddie noticer.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I didn't even hear that ring.
Okay.
I'm coming. Sorry about that, guys. That was an alien.
Oh, we don't want to talk about them today.
Yeah, well, that's what they asked me. It was like, oh, is Jordan doing that segment? I stopped by last night and gave him some information to tell you. And I was like, he's not, mate. He's talking about this fucking Japanese unit. And he was like, oh, what did they do with this Japanese unit? And I was like, they did some stuff. So I sent him away anyway. He's gone.
Okay, yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, sorry. As I was going to say before I was so rudely interrupted by my baddie noticer, if I got any of these pathogens, illnesses,